Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 3 based on novel. So let's start. After coming out of Juboyuan, Xiao Yang took Qing Yuan to an inn to stay. Brother Xiao Yan, why are you buying so many medicinal pills? Qing Yuan was obviously shocked by Xiao Yang's generosity, so he hurriedly asked when he came to the deserted inn. Of course it's for you to refine medicine. Xiao Yang said calmly. Oh? Refining the medicine for me? I don't need to take medicine. Qing Yuan looked at Xiao Yang in confusion. You must know that on Do-Di continent, the number of medicinal pills that are circulated among ordinary people on weekdays is basically 9 from the 9th grade golden pill that Xiao Yang just put up for auction. He knew that Xiao Yang should be a strong person with some attainments in medicine refining, so Xiao Yang had to make medicine pills for himself to eat. Sorry. Okay, you don't have to worry. Since you want to follow me, you can't be the same as before. No matter what happened in the past, now is your new life. Xiao Yang took out the medicine pill just auctioned, and then used an ordinary Do-Chi card to take out 100,000 money and hand it to Qing Yuan. Nuo, you can take the money and buy whatever you want. If it's not enough, say it again. No, there's no need for that, Brother Xiao Yang, Qing Yuan was speechless. Thank you, Brother Xiao Yang. The corners of Qing Yuan's moved eyes couldn't help but turn sour. It was the first time someone treated him so well since he was born. Girls don't cry all the time, Qing Yuan, remember, one's birth and experience cannot determine a person. 30 years in Hadong and 30 years in Hershey, don't bully the poor. Don't worry, I will help you find your parents. Xiao Yang obviously saw Qing Yuan's inferiority complex and hurriedly comforted him. After a night of silence, Xiao Yang left the bed to Qing Yuan. This little girl was so scared that it was time to take a good rest. Qing Yuan was indeed very tired. She climbed onto the bed and fell asleep in a daze. Xiao Yang consciously withdrew to prepare for cultivation. The night of cultivation passed quickly. After all, he just came to this continent, so he still had to carefully stabilize his realm and familiarize himself with the abundant fighting spirit here. Xiao Yang was just about to quit and go to the outside world. When I went to cover Qing Yuan with a quilt, I saw 2 small dimples appear on Qing Yuan's delicate face, as if he had a very happy dream. Master, what's the matter with the girl you said, Qing Yuan? Xiao Yang quietly exited, closed the door lock, and stroked the ring. I told you before, if you want to know this question, you have to refine the Guban Pei Yuan pill, and then give it to Qing Yuan. What you want to know will naturally surface, but according to her current judging from the situation, it should only be a few months at most. You have to hurry up. The Golden Dragon King continued to play dumb with Xiao Yang while looking at Xiao Yang, who was confused. The medicinal materials were auctioned from Juboyuan today, and the ones left by the master are basically complete, but now there is only one magic core missing. What should I do? Xiao Yang asked in confusion. I just came to the Do-Di continent and I haven't figured out the power of the monsters, so I can't just hunt and kill a monster. Indeed, the magic core of the Emperor-level beast is not so easy to obtain. Today, I looked at the source of treasures and found no fluctuations in the magic core. It seems that it is not too difficult to find one. Go to the Alchemist Association tomorrow. The Alchemist of Do-Di continent is very rare. Even if you are a first-rank Emperor-grade alchemist, you must be very popular in this small Qingcheng, high-level alchemist. It's easy to do things wherever you go, hee. The Golden Dragon King suddenly thought of a good way and laughed. Is it the Alchemist Association? There was a slight smile on the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth. Yes, he forgot his identity as a pharmacist. When he was in Do-Chi continent, he was promoted to a pharmacist who could refine imperial medicine pills. It's just because there is no clear assessment level in Do-Chi continent, so I forgot about it. The morning sun shines on the earth, and the beautiful day begins again. Brother Xiao Yang, where are we going? Qing Yuan apparently had a good night's sleep, and his mental outlook looked much better. 3,000 green silk fell down, and he was very swayed by the sunlight and breeze. Charming. Let's go to the Alchemist Association now, and the medicinal herbs prepared for you are still missing an important medicinal ingredient, so let's try our luck. Xiao Yan took Qing Yuan on the way to the Alchemist Association, and kept answering questions like 100,000 whys of Qing Yuan. In the Alchemist Association, 5 splendid large characters stand on a seemingly ordinary plaque. At first glance, the gate will be empty. And what's even more strange is that this seemingly ordinary plaque makes people's soul tremble at a glance, and they stop moving forward. There is actually a soul shock on this plaque. Xiao Yan of the Emperor Realm Soul obviously recognized this means of soul impact. He hurriedly covered the slightly uncomfortable Qing Yuan with his soul power, and an invisible soul power emanated from Xiao Yang. Oh, the soul of the Emperor Realm, it's been a long time since it appeared. In the Alchemist Association, a pale-haired old man felt Xiao Yang's soul power, his eyes moved, and he instantly disappeared in place. The so-called soul shock is to limit the power of the soul within a certain range. If it exceeds this range, it will have no effect. However, if the power of the soul is lower than the limit, it will be impacted, that is, the soul will be imprisoned in an instant. Ha ha, Xiao Yoyo's eyesight, you can see through these trifles of our association at a glance, please come in. A pale-haired old man with a smile on his face walked towards him. Xiao Yang sensed a power that was no weaker than himself from this pale-haired old man. But Xiao Yang was not afraid, and walked in with Qing Yuan. President, what are you doing? Didn't we drink tea in there? Why did you suddenly come out? Another gentle-faced old man said to the white-haired man who just came out. President, hello, I'm here to register and assess the alchemist. Xiao Yang took Qing Yuan's hand and said to the white-haired old man in front of him. Is it you who just exuded the soul power of the Emperor Realm? The white-haired old man asked again. It's really me. Xiao Yang didn't shy away from answering directly, and it was also the Alchemist Association. Then what kind of pharmacist do you want to assess? The white-haired old man looked at Xiao Yang, who was staring at him carefully, but did not see any clues. The white-haired old man is named Bai Su. He is the president of the Qingcheng Alchemist Association, and he is also an alchemist who thinks he is a first-rank emperor. Standing next to Bai Su is Bai Ruo, the vice president of the Alchemist Association. Because the latter is playful by nature, his alchemy skills are the only pills of the emperor. In addition, the two are brothers. First-rank emperor. Xiao Yang said calmly, as if he was talking about a very ordinary thing. What? You actually want to test the first-rank emperor-rank pharmacist? Bai Ruo looked at Xiao Yang in surprise. Could it be that he doesn't know that the sky is high and he wants to test the emperor-rank first-rank pharmacist at a young age? This is crazy. Oh, come with me. Bai Ruo immediately ordered to go ahead and prepare for the first-grade emperor-rank pharmacist assessment. The association is strictly prohibited, and no one is allowed to enter or leave. In addition, call members of the association to come and observe. Bai Ruo originally thought that Xiao Yang was coming to assess the 9th-grade pharmacist. After all, it doesn't mean that with the soul of the emperor, you can test other alchemists of the emperor level, but this time it is interesting. Don't let me down. Bai Su said slowly in his heart, looking at Xiao Yang who was calm. Bai Su took Xiao Yang and Qing Yuan into the interior of the Alchemist Association. This is an isolated treasure within our Alchemist Association. It is a small world opened up by an immortal warrior. Here you can rest assured to refine medicine pills to your heart's content. In addition, the assessment of the first-grade imperial pharmacist is divided into 3 parts. The first part is spiritual cultivation, the second part is spiritual empowerment, and the third part is soul tempering. The so-called spiritual cultivation is through fine soul methods, and flame the subtle control makes the medicinal pill produce a trace of intelligence similar to that of human beings, and the infusion is to give the medicinal pill a spirituality that is not weaker than that of human beings. Dan is like a sky and an underground. And the last is the most difficult soul training. There are almost no exercises to cultivate soul power on the mainland. Soul training can only be done by controlling the soul power, which is also for all emperors. The most troublesome thing for pharmacists is that if they are not careful, their soul power will be severely damaged, and their strength will be reduced. Bai Su looked at Xiao Yang and said slowly. It seemed that he was explaining to Xiao Yang, but he was actually in the assessment area. A member of the Ichian Refining Pharmacist Association outside explained that these are the mainstays of their own association. Did you know? Bai Su smiled slowly at Xiao Yang. Obviously, this young man named Xiao Yang has been paid attention to by the president Bai Su. He has reached the soul of the emperor at a young age, so in the future. Understood. May I start the assessment? Xiao Yang looked at the chairman Bai Su, who was present, and explained it to himself carefully. The vice chairman Bai Ruo also nodded and added from time to time that he couldn't guess what they were selling in the gourd. What kind of medicine? Even more can't guess that the members of the elite pharmacist association behind him are looking at him expectantly. The alchemist examination of the emperor rank can benefit a lot just by looking at it. Assessment begins. Bai Su's words fell, and the sparse figures around him instantly quieted down. You must know how rare it is to be able to witness this kind of emperor-grade pharmacist assessment, so he looked at Xiao Yang quietly. The first round of assessment, Yuling. There are 2 medicine pills provided by the association. Of course, you can also use the prescription prepared by yourself. Bai Sumi smiled and looked at Xiao Yang in front of him. Second prescription? Are you crazy? Vice President Bai Ruo, who was standing beside Bai Su, said in shock. He knew best how precious an imperial prescription was, even if it was inscribed in value. Fei, I took out the second pair at once, and Vice President Bai Ruo couldn't help but feel a pain in his face. You will naturally understand afterwards. Bai Su said to Bai Ruo. TT's really a big deal. The first shot is the prescription for the second rank of emperor. Xiao Yang couldn't help but be shocked. You must know that the prescriptions of the emperor rank are priceless treasures. Although the prescriptions in front of you are inscribed, the value of them is also very high, not to mention the medicinal materials that are accompanied by these 2 prescriptions. Hey, this is shocking? Don't you think that the people in the Alchemist Association are all fools? If you just revealed your Emperor Realm Soul, do you think this president will come up with such a good prescription for you? Since he has come up with such a good prescription, he just wants to tie you to a boat invisibly. If something happens to this association in the future, you can't shirk it. These people are shrewd. The Golden Dragon King smiled in the ring. Anyway, we didn't lose any money. We also picked up the second emperor's prescription for nothing. If something happens in the future, it's not too late to talk about it. Xiao Yang also clearly saw what President Bai Su was thinking, and smiled knowingly at Bai Su. Xiao Yang walked forward slowly and spread out the 2 volumes of the prescription with his palm. Huishu Dan, its effect can not only stimulate the maximum potential of fire attribute fighting Qigong method, but also has the effect of prolonging life. Materials, ice and snow ginseng, imperial bamboo leaves, fire cloud spring water. Shaping pill. It is rumored that monsters can evolve into humans if they reach a certain strength or devour wonders of heaven and earth, and continue to cultivate. Although the 6th grade medicine pill can also help the monsters transform into human beings, the 6th grade transformation pill will cause the strength of the monsters to decline. Even the foundation is unstable, which seriously affects the cultivation after transformation. And the shaping pill can solve this problem very well. It does not affect the training speed, and it is even rumored that Warcraft can switch between Warcraft form and human form at will. Therefore, it is sought after by Warcraft. Materials, Lotus of the Earth, Blood Emperor Leaf, Ice and Snow Flame Fruit. If you think about it, you can start the first round. Bai Ruo said after watching Xiao Yang and feeling it carefully. Master, which one should we choose? Xiao Yang asked in uncertainty for a while. Shaping pill. This pill is of great use. Now that there are enough medicinal materials, I will first refine the medicinal materials that I am going to find for Guban Pei Yuan Dan. The Golden Dragon King pondered for a while. I choose the shape pill. Xiao Yang quietly responded to President Bai Ruo. Shaping pill? That's comparable to some second-rank Emperor rank pills, even some Emperor rank first-rank peak alchemists, even some Emperor rank first-rank Xiandan alchemists may not be able to refine them. This young man actually to make this? Is he crazy? All the members of the association who were watching Xiao Yan's assessment were talking. It's actually this medicinal pill that is comparable to the peak of the Emperor's first-grade Xiandan. If this person can pass the test, then I don't need to ask the president. Yu Kanshu, a girl with silver hair, looked at Xiao Yang, who was on the field, was slowly thinking about something in his heart. Xiao Yang thought for a while, although the master said that the different fire is not an ordinary thing in this duty continent, but the master did not make it clear. Forget it, the uniqueness of the flame is unique. The Pharmacist Association, they can't possibly pull me to study it. Only by refining the imperial medicinal pills with different fires can you get twice the result with half the effort. With a plan in his mind, he didn't hesitate, and immediately called out Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi ran out and stood on Xiao Yang's shoulder. A milky white flame surrounded him, babbling non-stop, as if complaining about Xiao Yang. Yang hadn't summoned himself for a long time to come out to breathe, and he was suffocated inside, and he even put on an aggrieved expression. All right, let's make the medicine pill first, then you can follow Qing Yuan. Xiao Yan also saw Xiao Yi's dissatisfaction and hurriedly comforted him. Xiao Yi babbled happily only after hearing the words, and the milky white flames around her couldn't help but thicken a little. It seemed that Xiao Yi was very happy. Since the milky white flame appeared, those present felt that the temperature of the surrounding air instantly increased by a lot, and there were drops of sweat on everyone's forehead. That is Fire Elf. The terrifying flame power radiated from Xiao Yi's petite body, and the discerning person couldn't help but wonder. The black-clothed and silver-haired woman also covered her mouth with slender jade hands in disbelief and exclaimed, "It's actually a fire elf." President Baisu, who was smiling before, was full of surprise at the moment, and then his head quickly calculated something. How is it possible that this kid can actually have a fire elf? Vice President Bai Ruo's unhappiness before has become unbelievable now. This is definitely a good cauldron. After Xiao Yang summoned the strange fire, he instantly filled the medicine cauldron, and found that there was no trace of flames overflowing, and those flames were perfectly preserved in the cauldron, and he couldn't help but say. There are 3 essential things for a powerful pharmacist. First, strong soul power. Only with a strong soul power can you perfectly control the power of the flame, refine the medicinal power contained in the medicinal materials perfectly, and not waste a single bit of the medicinal materials. The second is a good medicine cauldron. A good medicine cauldron can perfectly preserve the flame, speed up the refining, and better preserve the quality of the medicine pill. Even the cauldrons on the Jianding ranking can cover the vision of the birth of some medicinal herbs. The third is the powerful fighting spirit, which is the strength of the pharmacist itself. The higher the level of medicinal pills, the more time it takes, and the more precious the medicinal materials needed. Only strong strength can support the completion of high-level medicinal pills. The refining process, otherwise the lack of strength, will lead to the failure of refining medicine pills, or even more serious pill destruction. With these 3 as prerequisites, plus one's own continuous learning and refining, one can become a qualified pharmacist. To become a high-level pharmacist, one must continue to practice hard. Xiao Yang summoned Xiao Yi, and before he said much, Xiao Yi seemed to know what Xiao Yang was thinking, and immediately began to breathe flames at the Dan Ding. That appearance was really cute. Seeing this, Xiao Yang smiled knowingly and was about to start refining the shape pills, but he didn't notice the guild leader or the outside sensation at all. Fire Elf? What is that? Some members of the association present said puzzledly. The so-called elves are mysterious creatures born from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. We in Duty Continent divide them into elves of the 5 elements of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. They are born with intelligence that is not weaker than human beings, and they have great power, and it is said that the most powerful thing about elves is that they can grow. The silver-haired woman looked at Xiao Yang with envy. Not only that, it is said that the 5 elements of the elves are uniquely endowed by nature, and if they can obtain one of them, their future prospects are limitless. Moreover, elves are the most sincere and simple, and only when they can be recognized by elves can they become partners of elves, and the blessings of elves to partners. And combat augmentation can only be described as terrifying. Just after Yueru finished speaking, there was a lot of restlessness in the audience, envy and excitement, because at least here they saw the fire spirit with their own eyes. Xiao Yan listened to these words without saying a word. It seems that after the assessment is over, it is time to ask the master about Xiao Yi. After that, he didn't get distracted, but concentrated on controlling the flames. Those who can join the Alchemist Association are definitely not people with bad temperament. They are more respectful. Every strong person is worthy of everyone's respect, not to mention the strength and luck like Xiao Yang. A united genius. What Yueru said is very true. I didn't expect that this kid is not only the soul of the Emperor, but also has such a rare fire spirit. President Baisu smiled at the silver-haired woman named Yueru. Emperor Realm Soul? The silver-haired woman named Yueru said once again, deeply shocked. I knew earlier that even though there are many talented people and talents in Do Di continent, but only the profession of alchemist is rare, not to mention how rare it is for high-level pharmacists. A strong pharmacist must have a strong soul to control the flames and maintain complex and boring alchemy, and a strong pharmacist must be a strong pharmacist. President, please let me see this man after this assessment is over. Yueru looked at President Baisu firmly as if she had made a decision. Are you still unwilling to give up? Although Xiao Yang is blessed with a fire elf, but... Baisu saw a look of depression in Yueru's eyes and hurriedly stopped. Okay, I'll make arrangements when this assessment is over. Thank you, President. Yueru excitedly bowed to President Baisu, then raised her head and looked proudly at Xiao Yang in the assessment arena. Xiao Yang, who was in the assessment venue, watched the flames in the cauldron scorching hot to the top. At this heat, it seems that we can start refining medicine pills. Xiao Yang pointed his finger at the medicine cauldron skillfully, and each of the medicinal materials was thrown into the medicine cauldron, and Xiao Yi was also babbling by the side. After learning Xiao Yang's movements, he also learned the same way. Since the medicinal materials were put in, the flames in the medicine cauldron were divided into 3 by Xiao Yang, and the 3 flames went to the lotus of the earth, the blood emperor leaf, and the ice and snow flame fruit, as if the division of labor was clear. With such an appearance, it is astonishing that he wants to refine them separately. The whole process of refining medicine is to use 1 heart and 1 heart. It is not possible to use 1 heart and 2 hearts. In light of this, the pill will destroy people, and in serious cases, it will be damaged. This is something that every pharmacist knows when he starts. However, it is also excluded that some alchemists with other means can be divided into 3 refining. What a delicate soul control! He can actually divide the medicinal materials into 3 parts by himself and refine them at the same time. Baisu couldn't help but praise Xiao Yang's medicinal refining technique. You must know that even when Baisu is refining the medicine by himself, in order to ensure the full refining of the medicinal materials, the refining is controlled by the soul, and the control of the soul and the consumption of oneself are not small. Not everyone is the same. It can be done. Several hours passed in a blink of an eye. The material of the lotus of the earth itself is very hard, even if it is an unusual darling of fire like Xiao Yi. The continuous baking and quenching of ultra-high temperature, it finally starts to fall off a little bit slow. It fell off slowly, revealing the blood-red rich energy inside the lotus seeds. Next came the blood emperor leaf. In a strange scene, after the lotus of the earth was refined, the blood emperor leaf suddenly clicked and a leaf fell off, causing a ***** bamboo forest to emerge. Then, in the surprised eyes of everyone, a delicate leaf fell from the bamboo forest and slowly turned into a green liquid. The ice and snow flame fruit is extremely ***** the outside, and it is the last refining. The outer shell of the ice and snow flame fruit is slowly refined, and a layer of golden crystals appears. Pile of liquid. Everyone looked at the 3 piles of liquids in the flames, which radiated a strong power invisible, because they also knew that the first step was completed, and then it was the real game. Let these 3 incompatible liquids fuse. It seems that dividing into 3 is really a lot of consumption, and the next step is fusion. Xiao Yang looked at the 3 piles of incompatible liquid in the cauldron, and said helplessly. Under Xiao Yang's control, the 3 piles of liquid slowly approached each other. Boom boom boom. Just as the 3 piles of liquid were slowly approaching each other, 3 terrifying energies instantly exploded in the tripod. It seems that the three forces have their own, and no one is allowed to govern each other. Oh, you failed to blow up the cauldron, what are you going to do, little guy? Baisu murmured to himself, looking at Xiao Yang's state. Xiao Yan controlled the flames and soul force and kept urging the fusion of the three piles of liquids. After a stalemate for a while, everyone thought that when Xiao Yang was going to fail for the first time, a roar echoed in the assessment area. A fried tripod. How can it be? Suck me. A roar sounded instantly. In the space where Xiao Yang was located outside the medicine cauldron, after Xiao Yang's loud roar, the surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth all divided into three strands at a speed visible to the naked eye, and gathered towards the three piles of medicinal materials in the medicine cauldron. With the influx of spiritual energy from heaven and earth, the three forces that were stalemate outside the medicine cauldron gradually softened, and there were even signs that they were about to merge. Oh, using the special power of the fire elf flame to remove the violent factor in the three medicinal materials, coupled with the influx of the surrounding world's spiritual energy, the power of the three medicinal materials can be balanced and easily merged. It is really wonderful. Baisu Huichang looked at Xiao Yang's skillful technique in front of him, and said to the members of the association who were puzzled below. His eyes and tone did not conceal his praise for Xiao Yang. The removal of the rage factor should be the effect of the flame. It seems that this kid's fire spirit is somewhat different. But he's really a good boy. Baisu said slowly in his heart, then looked at Vice President Bai Ruo, and whispered a few words in his ear. Then Vice President Bai Ruo left the assessment area. He walked in a hurry as if he was going to do something. Don't try to rob me. The silver-haired woman Yueru looked at the Vice President who left, apparently guessing some reasons, and then said in a low voice coldly. Just as President Baisu said, Xiao Yang was using the devouring power of nothingness swallowing flames left in Xiao Yi's body to remove all the violent factors in the three medicinal materials, and was collecting heaven and earth aura to replenish energy for the three medicinal materials, so that when the energy reaches a balance, the fusion will be a matter of course. Time passed quickly, and when everyone exclaimed Xiao Yang's superb medicine refining skills, the fusion of medicinal herbs also began slowly. Xiao Yang's originally slightly closed eyes were also slowly opened at this moment, looking at the medicine cauldron with a dignified expression. In the rising flame, there are three groups or liquid medicine, or dust-like things. These three kinds of things exist. Although the thing looks inconspicuous, it is filled with a strong and shocking pure medicinal power. This little world has almost absorbed the spiritual energy of the world, so you should be saturated, right? Then, it's time to start merging into a pill. Xiao Yang carefully controlled the soul power to decompose the energy of the three to achieve a balance, and then controlled the flame to attack the medicinal materials. Obviously it's time to start fusing herbs. Xiao Yang controlled the flames to slowly attack the three piles of liquid. The liquids of the three medicinal materials have been reconciled and balanced by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. They did not offset each other as they did at the beginning, but began to slowly merge together. Success! Xiao Yang said with great joy. Originally, Xiao Yang only had the mentality of giving it a try. If he failed this time, he would still have two chances. Although the swallowing power of nothingness swallowing inflammation can indeed eliminate the violent factor in the medicinal materials, but all of this is just Xiao Yang's theory. Excited? The next step is to wait for all the medicinal ingredients to fuse into pills, and welcome Dan Lei. After that, Xiao Yang patted his legs and sat down, because he knew that even if the violent factor in the medicinal ingredients was eliminated, they would be able to fuse better and faster. It is also a time-consuming project. After all, it is an elixir of emperor rank. Alchemy is an extremely time-consuming thing. Especially the refining of such high-level medicinal pills often takes 10 days and a half months to refine. This situation is not uncommon. As for this situation, the members of the association who were watching the study were also aware, so they did not appear impatient because of the long wait. Most of the people who were able to watch were members of the association with some strength and status. The necessary patience is naturally a must. Under the gazes of countless expectant eyes, time also passed quietly. In the blink of an eye, 5 days passed quietly. Everyone watched Xiao Yang's every move these days, and it was immediately clear that the first part of refining the power of medicinal materials was completed, and the next step was to meet the Dan Thunder Tribulation. The so-called Dan Thunder Tribulation refers to the refining of medicinal pills that exceed the 8th rank and above, which will trigger a vision of heaven and earth. People call this kind of catastrophe a Dan Thunder Tribulation. Many pharmacists will ask the strong to help protect the law when refining high-level medicinal pills, because the Dan Thunder Tribulation is too vicious, and if one is not careful, the Dan will destroy people and die. Everyone present is well aware of the ferocity of the Dan Thunder Tribulation. Especially if the pills refined by Xiao Yan were of the imperial rank, the terrifying level of pill thunder would only be more dangerous. I hope you won't let us down. A powerful alchemist is powerful, but Dan Lei Tribulation is not that simple. The silver-haired woman you couldn't help but look at Xiao Yang in the arena with some worry. I don't know why, but I think this kid can be perfectly refined, and I feel that this kid should have some secrets, so just watch his performance. Bai Su clearly saw Yueru's worry and said. The silver-haired woman looked at Xiao Yang and then at Bai Su, as if thoughtful. In the slightly hot world, a low muffled thunder suddenly resounded in the sky, and then countless eyes hurriedly shifted upwards, only to see a dark cloud appeared in the sky, but now within this dark cloud, there was actually a low sound of thunder, and that appearance was clearly the shape of Dan Lei. Oh! This kind of fluctuation is it? Bai Su looked at Xiao Yang with a hint of laughter in his heart. He was really a powerful boy. As we all know, if the 8th grade medicinal pill can call out the 9-color pill thunder, it means that it has entered the scope of the 9th grade medicinal pill, and what will happen to the Emperor grade medicinal pill beyond the 9th grade? Xiao Yang focused on controlling the fusion of the medicinal materials without asking about foreign affairs, opened his eyes and shouted, "Get up!" Finally, the fusion was successful, and a dark cloud that made a green beam of light soared into the sky. The thunderclouds in the sky have begun to change. An unbelievable exclamation from outside the field suddenly resounded in this world. Reading www.ukangshu. Immediately, all the gazes in the association immediately froze on the thundercloud above Xiao Yang's head. As expected, they saw that along with the surging of the thundercloud, the original colorless Dan Lei began to change again. Looking at this miraculous scene, everyone's faces became dumbfounded. Xiao Yang actually did it. Good guy, it's amazing. While countless people were stunned, some people finally came to their senses first, and immediately shouted excitedly, "Today, Xiao Yang let them witness a miracle with their own eyes." On the stone platform in the distance, Yuruti's heart at her throat finally fell at this moment. Her jade hand patted her plump breasts, and a bright and charming smile quietly bloomed on her cheeks. He actually succeeded. The color of the thundercloud is constantly beating, 1 color, and 2 colors, 9 colors. Impressively, he jumped from a colorless thundercloud to a 9-color thundercloud in an instant. It's not over yet. Immediately at the moment when the 9-colored Dan Lei appeared, a mystifying fragrance emanated from the medicine cauldron, and then bursts of liquid like raindrops fell from the sky. Dan Yu! 9-colored Dan Lei, Dan rain all over the sky. This is the first time everyone has seen such a grand medicine refining technique. The members of the association present couldn't help but feel the vindictiveness in their bodies, and even their souls could not help being baptized. Got the same sublimation. Good guy. 9-colored Dan Lei, the sky is full of Dan rain. A symbol of the birth of the 1st grade pill of the Emperor's order. Bai Su laughed as he looked at this vision of heaven and earth. How are you going to deal with this 9-colored thunderbolt? This isn't an ordinary pillory of the 8th and 9th ranks. Greeting Dan Lei is also considered a test for alchemists. Alchemists refine all kinds of medicinal pills, and naturally they have to go through the test of Dan Lei. The imperial medicine pill is too tyrannical, causing the power of heaven and earth to destroy it, and if the alchemist can't protect the medicine pill, then the medicine will be destroyed. It can also be regarded as a kind of final test for alchemists. Dan Lei, along with the improvement in the quality of medicinal pills, is not to be underestimated even by ordinary 4-star fighting emperors, with 9-color thunderclouds similar to this imperial medicinal pill. Yueru frowned slightly, but there was also some worry in her eyes. The power of the 9-color thundercloud of the imperial medicine pill is too strong, Although Xiao Yan is definitely very human, so he has more confidence in him, but this 9-color Dan Thunder is not something that is easy to refine. It is not impossible to overturn the ship at the last moment if you are not careful. Under the worried gazes of the members of the association and Yueru, Xiao Yan, who was the party involved, smiled. He raised his head and glanced at the 9-colored thunderbolt in the sky. The smile on the corner of his mouth became more and more intense. For demon puppets, it's really a great tonic. A chuckle came out from Xiao Yang's mouth, his palm lifted lightly, the light of the ring on his fingers flashed slightly, and a dazzling silver figure appeared in front of him. Xiao Yang stood with. Although the heavenly demon puppet is already at its limit on the Dochi continent, but his master Jinlong said that he can still improve. His master had been trying to repair and strengthen the heavenly demon puppet in the ring before, so he did not give Xiao Yang much help. Just when Xiao Yang finished refining the medicinal pill, the master finally completed the repair and strengthening of this heavenly demon puppet. After all, his master, the Golden Dragon King, is a real giant. If he is the first in terms of physical training, no one dares to be the second. Therefore, it is reasonable to be able to improve the level of the Golden Demon Puppet. Today's heavenly demon puppet can withstand the full blow of the Dosheng powerhouse, but it is of little use to Xiao Yang, who has been promoted to Do Emperor. The current heavenly demon puppet has been strengthened by the special means of the master, and it can be even more powerful. One level up. Thinking of the terrifying strength that the golden demon puppet could rival the 5-star Do Di, Xiao Yang's breathing became much more rapid. This time, it's up to you. The palm lightly patted the body of Qian Yao Pup. Xiao Yang smiled, and immediately raised his head sharply, looking at the 9-color thundercloud roaring in the sky, as if looking down at the disdainful gaze of a small creature. He laughed boldly. Come on, come on. Let me see how powerful your Emperor Grade 9-color pill thunder is. The violently rolling 9-color thundercloud seemed to hear Xiao Yang's laughter. The rolling 9-colored thunderclouds in the sky also became more and more intense. Shuttle around. As if the force of destruction was about to descend upon this tiny arrogant ant. As the thundercloud rolled, it suddenly shrank, and then a 9-colored thunder, like a giant python, swept out of the cloud layer, and then tore the space, with a terrifying chirping sound, facing Xiao Yang. The stone platform pounced fiercely. Go! Looking at the 9-color Dan thunder that finally launched the offensive. Xiao Yang smiled, pointed to the void, and said softly to the heavenly demon puppet in front of him. The shout fell, and the dazzling celestial demon puppet in front of him suddenly stomped the ground with its soles, and the powerful force directly caused it to swept up into the sky, and then slammed into the powerful path in front of everyone's astonished eyes. Above the thunder. Seeing this scene, a sigh suddenly sounded in the square. Looks like it's going to fail this time. From everyone's perception, that puppet can deal with Dosheng powerhouses at most for 1 or 2 times, and how could it be possible to persist in the face of the 9-color Emperor Grade medicine pill, which is helpless for the 4-star Do Emperor powerhouses? Go down. Hey! Yueru also sighed softly, but before she could speak, her face changed suddenly, because she suddenly discovered that the heavenly demon puppet that was hit by the 9-color thunder, not only did not crack open, but the damage the body actually began to repair slowly during the thunderstorm, and the sunken chest that was instantly hit by the thunder, the sunken part, was also gradually bulging. This puppet is actually absorbing the thunder power of Dan Lei. Looking at the celestial demon puppet that was struck by lightning, but became more and more dazzling, the eyes of all the people watching from the audience suddenly shrank. They had never heard of such a strange puppet. No wonder you dare to come to assess the Imperial Alchemist at a young age. Baisu said to Xiao Yang, who was controlling the heavenly demon puppet and constantly absorbing Dan Lei on the stone platform. Boom! Boom! The splendid thunder in the sky, like a giant dragon roaring in the sky, raged and danced in the sky, and immediately brought a dazzling thunderbolt, swept down the sky and covered the ground, and finally almost bombarded the body of the demon puppet in mid-air. The thunder fell fiercely on the body of the Qian Yao puppet, and the brilliant silver lightning overflowed, and immediately turned into countless tiny electric snakes, which continuously followed the Qian Yao puppet's skin, and then got into its body. The splendid power of thunder poured into the body of the demon puppet, and then quickly strengthened the bones and withered flesh inside. Everyone in the audience looked at it from a distance, and the heavenly demon puppet was like a thunder god, floating in the sky, and within 10 meters of its body, there were flashes of thunder, and that kind of terrifying momentum made one's scalp tingle. On the stone platform, Xiao Yan stood with his hands behind his back, reading www.uk. Con Chen Yao Pup took all the 9-color thunderbolts shot at him by force, which made him extremely relaxed, and he didn't have to spend the slightest effort to deal with this difficult thunder. Above the sky, the thunderous rumblings resounded endlessly, and the tumbling 9-color thunderclouds, like a thunderbolt manufacturing machine, continuously spewed out numerous more and more brilliant thunderbolts, and then smashed all of them on the body of the earth demon puppet. The riot of the 9-color thundercloud lasted for nearly 10 minutes before it gradually stopped. In the past 10 minutes, almost 100 thunders with extremely terrifying power swept out of the thundercloud, but fortunately, these thunders, it did not cause any damage to the heavenly demon puppet, but instead caused the surface of its body covered with dazzling silver to faintly appear a little bit of dark red luster, constantly covering the heavenly demon puppet's body. As expected of a 9-color thunder, Xiao Yang's eyes were sharp, and he was the first to notice the dark red luster on the body of Chen Yao puppet. At the moment, his eyes couldn't help but fill with joy. Although these dark reds were extremely pale, Xiao Yang was quite satisfied. He is very clear, to make the heavenly demon puppet evolve into a golden demon puppet, what a huge amount of thunder power will be required. This 9-color Dan Lei is really a great supplement. It should be able to perfectly evolve to the level of the golden demon puppet in a few visits, but the current sky demon puppet is not going to give way even to the 2-star Do Emperor. Xiao Yan, looking at the 9-color Dan thunder that could not help but weaken its power and slowly fade away, he said with satisfaction. This kid is really amazing. He actually wants to complete the first part of instilling spirit and the second part of cultivating spirit together. In this case, the power of the elixir stage will increase exponentially. Bai Su saw Xiao Yang's words at a glance. In mind. But how are you going to conquer the thunder tribulation of the medicinal pill, and the soul tempering of the imperial medicinal pill is no joke. This video will end here.